So I wanted to tell you a little bit about the ovulation prediction kits that we've been using this month, and actually the past couple months. We've been using these for 4 or 5 months now, I think, but it's from Easy at Home. This is not sponsored. This is just what I'm using, and I wanted to kind of explain it for those of you that maybe are trying also and looking for a way to track everything. So there's 2 different types of tests in here. One of them is the ovulation test. So these are the blue ones. These track your LH levels, which is the luteinizing hormone, for those of you that don't know, and it gets higher when you're ovulating. So it starts low and then it should rise, and it'll hit a peak and then it'll go back down after you ovulate. And that's how you can tell that your ovulation is coming. So when you get a high read on those, it means that you will ovulate in 12 to 48 hours, give or take. Everybody's a little bit different. And then also the one I have has 50 of those ovulation tests and then 20 of these just cheap little pregnancy tests. And it's not that expensive on Amazon. I have a crying poodle. See? Say hi, Ellie. I'm so sad. She's very sad. You so sad? You say hello? It's a very sad life. But these are the pregnancy tests, and they're just cheap and easy to use, and I love having them on hand because I don't feel guilty about using a bunch of them. So here's an example of one of my cycles. This is this month, so this is November. And I start at cycle day 1, which is your period. That's the first day that your period starts. And I track the date and I track what my temperature is. And then I start tracking my ovulation around cycle day 6. I mean, it varies each time, but I want to make sure I don't miss it because my cycles are pretty unpredictable. And I just take this test, and then if you take a picture with the Premom app, it gives you a level, and mine was very low at just 1.7. So I started off nice and low, which is exactly what you should see. The cycle is a little bit different for me too, because I took a pregnancy test starting off early. So if you can see, these ones say LH on them, and these ones say HCG, which is the pregnancy test one. And I took one early because I had a really light period, and I usually have very heavy ones, so I just wanted to see. And then I took another one right here because I was getting my HSG that day, and I wanted to make sure that I was not pregnant, because if I was, that would flush out any babies that would be in my system. So I took one of those just to be careful, and then they also took one at the actual hospital. If you look at all of my levels, you can see that these are all dry, so they look a little different, but it starts off very light, very light, very light. And then we get down here to about cycle day 16, I believe, is when I finally saw, 17, cycle day 17, finally saw a high result. So if you look at this line compared to this one where you can barely see it, this one is much darker. And this one actually was my peak because it is darkest. So you actually get a positive test when the left test line is as dark as the right, and then when it becomes darker, which was this one, it's darker than the right line, that means that's your peak. And once you hit your peak, then you're gonna ovulate in 12 to 48 hours. On this cycle, I'm only cycle day 21 right now, so I haven't had my period or hopefully a positive pregnancy test yet, but it's doing what it should. So my levels were high, they were dark. You can see here that it's pretty dark, and then it's going down 0.4, 0.58, 0.34, 0.52, it's going down. And I will show you on the app where it looks like that as well. This is the app. It's a little purple app if you are looking for it in the App Store. The home screen gives you options to log different things. I log my symptoms sometimes. I always put my BBT in there. You can say different symptoms you're having, different moods, if it's ovulation day or not. Second tab is the calendar, so you can see what cycle day you're on. Then the purple shows when your fertile days are. The graph is my favorite feature. It gives you a chart of everything from the month, and you can look back at past months. The blue line is temperature, and then the red line is LH, so it documents both of them, which is really nice to see them together. That peak right there with the plus sign is where my LH peaked. That was the highest one that I showed you guys earlier. Then if you go to the next tab where the ovulation tests go, that shows you again what I had on the paper, but it's a real-time picture, so it shows you the actual lines before they dried, and you can clearly see which ones are darkest. I hope that's helpful for you guys. I've found this to be a really useful tool, and I've had a lot of good progress made, I feel like, by being able to track this, because we can actually time things better and make things a little bit more consistent. It helps to know when my peak is, it helps to find the patterns, and it helps to have those graphs every month. If you guys have any questions, let me know and I'll do my best to answer them, and I can even make another video kind of explaining more about how I use the app, how I use tracking, and kind of what I'm looking for. So let me know your questions and I can make a follow-up video. Want to say bye, sad poodle? Say bye. Say goodbye. It's so sad. Goodbye. And kisses. Okay.